Okay, for this one, it says Seth, Janice, and Lori each borrow $5,000 for 5 years at an annual nominal interest rate of 12% compound semi-annually. And they give us three cases here, and it tells us to calculate the total amount of interest paid on all three loans. So we're going to have to find the amount of interest paid in each of these scenarios given three different people. Another thing to keep in note is that a payment will always consist of interest plus principal. Right. So yeah, interest plus principal being paid out. So we're gonna utilize this concept as we go on, but let's start with Seth. So Seth has interest accumulated over the 5 years and pays all the interest and principal in a lump sum at the end of the 5 years. Okay, well, the first thing that we have to do is we have to solve the interest accumulated over the 5 years. And what does that even mean exactly? Well, over the 5 years, Seth borrows 5,000 for 5 years at an annual nominal interest rate of 12% compounded semi-annually. So we're going to have to find the amount of interest that needs to be paid out based on this nominal interest rate. So it's compounded semi-annually for 5 years, so for 10 different payments, right? So if we were to solve this, this is 1.06. If we were to solve this, this would be 8954.2384, right? So this is based on the amount of interest that has accumulated. So the concept here, and then so it also says that not only does he pay all the interest and principal, and not only does he pay all the interest, but he also pays the principal in a lump sum at the end of the 5 years, right? So what is exactly the principal in this case that is being paid out? The principal is the amount that the person borrows, which is 5,000, right? And supposedly at a nominal interest rate every year, we are required to pay back an amount of interest every year. So this would be our payment, right? Amount of payment of interest that we have to pay back every year. This is the payment equation, and the amount of principal that we're paying out in lump sum, which is 5,000. And we will need to find interest in this case, or interest that we have left after we pay back the 5,000. So yeah, so 8,954 and 2384 is like the amount of interest that has accumulated over time, and we need to use this amount of interest to pay out the lump sum of principal. So once we subtract both values, we end up getting 3954.238. So that is the amount of interest. Interest has accumulated over 10 years. We use that amount of interest to pay back the principal of $5,000, and we have this amount of interest left. Now, the second part is that Janice pays interest at the end of every 6-month period as it accrues, and the principal at the end of 5 years. Okay, so since Janice pays interest at the end of every 6 months, again, we have to figure out how much interest that she pays in every 6-month period. Well, since we're dealing with 12% compounded semi-annually, we would have to find out that amount of interest paid by multiplying the 5,000 by an effective interest rate of 1.06 if we want to find out the specific amount of interest paid out in each year. So this would consist of payment of 5,300. And now it also says that not only does she pay out interest at the end of every 6-month period as it accrues, she also pays out the principal at the end of 5 years. So we're also going to have to use that payment that she accumulates in interest every 6 months, and we have to subtract 5,000 principal as like the lump sum, and we get 300 as like the interest left. But it says that she does this at the end of 5 years, and she pays at every 6-month period, which means that this would consist of 10 payments in total of interest left. So it'd be 3,000. So again, this uses the concept of how a payment consists of interest plus principal. In this case, Janice has a payment or payout of interest at every 6 months period, which we calculate as 5,300 every 6 months. So this would be the payment, and then we also have to always pay out the principal, which is what we borrow, 5,000. We subtract both, we end up finding the interest, right? We'll go back to this case, same as here. Seth has interest accumulating over the 5 years and pays out all the interest. So this is the payment, subtracts the lump or principal, and then we get 3,954.23 as the interest. Now let's go to Lori. So Lori repays her loan with 10 level payments at the end of every 6-month period. Okay, so we have a loan, set up the present value equation to 5,000, and there's 10 level payments. And we know that the effective interest rate is 6%, given 12% compounded semi-annually. So let's first find X. We'll use our TBM. So 5,000 as the present value, 10 and number year, 6 as this, 0 as future value, compute payment, and then we end up getting $679.34 as the level payments. Now, once we do that, we realize that this is a payment occurring every 6 months, right? So in total of 10 payments, we end up getting 679.40, right, as a payment in whole. So now we have our payment. Now we get our lump sum principal again to find interest, and then we end up getting 1793.40, right? So now it says calculate the total amount of interest paid on every loan. Okay, so we got this one, we got this number. We also got this one, right? So now let's add all of them. So we get 3954.238 plus 3,000 plus 1793.40, and then we get 8747.638. So we know it's not near this, not near this, not near. So the answer is D.